Welcome to the Tone Lounge Podcast, the definitive music industry and gear podcast with Jonathan Gilmet and Frank Fleckenstein.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Tone Lounge Podcast. Good morning, good day, good evening, good night, wherever you are, wherever the time zone is we are catching you. My name is Frank. I'm your host, and together with my wonderful co-host, Jonathan Gilmet, aka the Duke of Voxington.
Hey, you didn't forget.
we have a special guest today that I don't think needs any introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, Danish Pete.
Hello everybody. Thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure to be on.
It's a pleasure to have you. And my first question is, how does one pronounce your last name? That's important.
Oh yeah, that's it. It's French, isn't it? So
It is.
it's French, isn't it? Yes, it is. We just say Honoré. So
Honoré.
Yeah, Honoré. But with the H, Honoré. But Honoré, whatever people want to say. I'm not fussed, man. You know, I've taken a lot worse than somebody pronouncing my name wrong.
Yeah,
So
but
It's all good. Yeah.
You're now a minority on this episode.
why? Because I'm not French. French name.
French name,
Yeah,
not so French name.
not so French name. Very
Not so French name.
No, very Deutsch, very German.
Very Deutsch.
Very
name,
Deutsch.
Yeah? I can see the papers. Sorry.
And when I say that, Pete doesn't need any introduction, it's because obviously what we're doing here, we are kind of moving in and out of, guitar YouTube. And if you consume guitar YouTube, then you would have been living under a rock if you haven't heard of Danish Pete or Peter Honoré
Yes, nuts.
at some point.
Yeah.
But it's not only that people know you from YouTube. You've also been a touring musician for a large majority of your life, and from what I've seen, like if I look at some of the artists that you've been working with and playing for, it's guys like Tom Jones, it's Lionel Richie, Peter Gabriel, Helene Fischer.
Helene Fischer, big German artist,
Fischer.
yeah.
but also like acts like Il Divo, which is like a total different context where it's like classical music, and so yeah, to put it in one word, there's a lot of variety in the artists that you've been working with. Can you tell me what the most challenging act was that you played with?
I think it was probably Il Divo, to be completely honest. And we call it popra. Because it is like there were 4 or 5 guys. I can't remember now. It's a long time ago. When was it? It's 15 years ago now, I would think. But because the music was more, there was some classical aspect to it, and I had to play some nylon string guitars. And I actually turned the first tour down. I was asked to do the tour first, and I was like, that's not me. I don't think I can play that classical guitar, finger style. And I was doing my own thing. I had a studio in Copenhagen at the time with some friends of mine. But then they asked me again, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll do it. It was 7 or 8 months work, and the guys in the band that I know them all, and they're like, yeah, you could easily do that. It's just, just play exactly what you're supposed to play, and you can do that. And I was like, okay, fine. So I've got a hold of some nylon string guitars, and there was this one song called Passera, which was just like completely just standalone guitar stuff, and that was the only song, even after 120 or 200 gigs, can't remember how many, I still had to have the notes on the piano next to me for some reason, even though I could play it. It was just like a little blanket. It was the only song out of 20 or 25 or whatever, because there was not like a part and a part. It was just one long sort of different chord progression all the way through it,
Wow.
But it was, I think, sort of challenging. I mean, when you love to do something, is it challenging, or do you just like, are you just excited to do it? I don't know if. What do you mean, like in a musical way, in a musical sense, or do you mean like in a personality, kind of. I mean, there's lots of aspect in touring, isn't there?
Yeah. I think, I would probably say or ask, or my question was related to like how challenging was it to like get into the musical and playing aspect of an act, and obviously in Divo, right. I think with the classical context, they had like an entire orchestra with them, right?
Yes, we would pick up an orchestra, and every time we were in, or any country we were in, we would pick up like a 25-30 piece orchestra. And we had a conductor with us who traveled around. We also had stuff on track in case, that they weren't good enough or whatever. You go to somewhere in the middle of Mexico and you had to pick up some string people, it was just, it's like, you never know what you're going to get, so we did have some of it on track just in case. But I like those challenging gigs where, I mean, it was quite poppy, it was Nights in White Satin, it was what's the Bryan Adams, Have You Ever Really Loved a Woman, it was sort of pop songs, but they were singing them in this operatic kind of, one was French, one was Italian, one was German, and one was American, so they all had their thing going on, I like that challenge, I like also the challenge of just playing something really simple, like E minor, G, C8, whatever, minor, whatever, and making that as good as I can. That's also a challenge, I think there's more challenge. There's a challenge in playing the same show every night with the same songs, with the same arrangements, and exactly the same solo and the same everything for 120, 200 times. That can be quite challenging to then think that, it's just. It sounds a little bit sort of, but you do get used to it. It becomes a little bit of a job, sadly, even though there's 30,000 or 20,000 people or 80,000 people watching, it sadly becomes that feeling of, oh, you have to go again and do Atemlos, That's one for the Germans. If you do two night stadium gigs, in the same stadium 2 nights, and you're like, oh, do it again tomorrow. It becomes and I don't want to sound full of myself or anything like that, but it does become a job, sadly. But I mean, I just love playing the guitar, so I don't really care whether it's a pub gig or it's a stadium gig. I just love playing the guitar, and I think that really is important when you're a musician. That you might never get to that stage. You might not get on a stage as a session musician in playing in front of 80,000 people, but it's just as good playing at a wedding with 50 or 100 people that absolutely love it. In my opinion, I love both of it. That's an amazing experience to have with you for the rest of your life. But it's the bass player will be 25 meters across the stage somewhere, and it's the connection is not really there as it is when you're playing. So there's I mean, that's challenging as well, playing in ears, and you can't really hear the band, you can't feel the band, you can't, there's no connection, and just making it like it's the best thing you've ever done,
I have a parallel question to Frank's. In terms, now you kind of highlighted sometimes the challenge of playing and the repetition and the challenges of the music, but how about the gear? Have you ever had a gig where the gear was more of a logistical nightmare for you, like having to switch banks and amps and sounds?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been that sort of guy who I rather, I think less is more when it comes to gear. I don't need to have. I was never the guy who had set lists in my Helix or in my Kemper, or I would just have like an amp, maybe 2 amps, in case one went down, and then a spare amp out back, whatever. And then I would have like compressor and drive, 4 or 5 drive pedals, delay, reverb. What have I got now? Some delays, some tremolo, some stuff, and I could do everything with that. I feel like I never needed a certain sound for this one little bit and that little bit in the song. that I couldn't do with what I sort of had. But it was funny on the Il Divo, which we talk about that again. I did actually bring a Boogie Lone Star, Mr. Boogie Lone Star 212 with me, and a whole pedal board full of stuff. But I also brought a Line 6 floor pod. You remember the HD floor pods?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had two, and you know what? I had two of those, and because we were in ears and there was no monitors and stairs, no gear on stage, it just ended up that I used that, and it was okay. It was not great, but it did what it needed to do, you know. And it was not great, but it was fine, you know. And I would probably go back to using, you know, like a QC or Kemper or New Helix or whatever now if I had to do a tour like that again, because it's just convenient. But I've never had any well, saying that, we did do clang here, but when we did Tom Jones and we were doing a vineyard tour around New Zealand and Australia, they were just, you know, getting an amp somewhere in the middle of nowhere could be challenging, you know, getting an old Fender something that with one speaker broken, or an old Marshall, you know, Blues Breaker. It's just that was a bit challenging, coming out with your pedal board and just, you didn't know, you straight into the gig, no sound check, no nothing. But I guess that's when you're professional and you've done 150 gigs already on that. You just go, that's it. That's the sound I'm going to get tonight, and I'm going to give you, you know, you're going to have the best evening ever. I guess that's what you do when you've gigged for 35 years. You know, that's the professionalism that comes out of the bag. You're looking for it down in the bag, like, oh, where the fuck is the thing? You know, oh, there it is. Cool. Okay, boom, and you just do it. You know.
Yeah, fun fact about the you know, Hot Rod Deluxe or Hot Rod DeVille. This is the most used amp in amp rental companies.
I love it, man.
It's so funny because I played a show supporting a band, which name I've forgotten, but they had a huge show prepared and everything, and they had 3 guitar players, and all the 3 guitar players had a double amp setup, and both of those amps were Fender Hot Rod Deluxe.
Yeah. And you can find them anywhere, you know, you can find one of those anywhere, and it'll always kind of work. And you know, it's just, it's the amp of amps, you know, it sounds good. I've done many Helena Fischer gigs, just turned up and there was a Hot Rod Deluxe, and I've had 4 pedals with me, like a delay and 2 overdrive pedals or whatever, just boom on the floor, Telecaster, done the whole show like that, you know. And nobody really knows. It just works, you know, and you know what you've got, and you know what it's going to sound like, and you know, I guess that's what people use their QCs for now, isn't it? That's a similar sort of thing. But I'm still an amp guy. At the end of the day, I really like the whole vibe between me and the amp and the guitar. But that's just me, you know. You know, we're not even that far into this podcast yet. We're already talking about the
nerding,
big bad,
nerding out.
We're gonna make a clip, and it's gonna say, Pete says, "No, digital gear is sucky. Use real tube amps or some shit." You know, some real viral clip thing, and that's totally not what he says. You know, it's like, no, it's fine. You know, use the pod. You know.
Oh, you can say that because people know I'm that. People know I'm that kind of guy. You know, that I really enjoy it. I think that's an experience that's difficult to get with any of these. You know, these. You know, there's so many companies now that makes Vailton and Moore, and they all make something, and it all sounds fine. It all sounds good, but it's not the same as sitting in a room and turning an amp up and feeling that the air and the dynamics of everything. You know, but I guess. Maybe that comes later on. Or maybe people don't want it, you know, and that's fair enough. I mean, I'm not here to tell people what they need to do and how they need to play the guitar, or how to hold their pick, or what strings to use. They need to do what they do to engage themselves with it, you know, get inspired by it. There's nothing worse than somebody telling someone what to play or how to play it or what gears to use or what guitar. Like, you have to do this, otherwise you'll never... You know, don't hold your thumb over all that kind of stuff. It's like, just, you want to be you want to play a guitar, man, just go and play it,
But that's important. That's a very interesting point you're bringing up, because the thing is that I kind of have a feeling, especially looking like back into the past, like 5 to 6 years, and the kind of content that's coming up on social media and YouTube and whatnot, that's kind of getting lost a little bit. I feel like I had a very, very long surge for like the gear that I like, the way that I like to play, the way I like to pick, the pick that I like to use, the strings and all of these. But I all kind of figured it out on my own by like trial and error. It's the old-fashioned way, and I feel that's kind of getting lost a little bit, because everybody's like, somebody's saying something, and everybody's like, okay, this is what this guy's saying is gold, and nobody's like trying to figure it out on their own. They're all like waiting for the next sort of messiah to tell them what to use.
But they're watching us, and what do we say about stuff? What does the people on YouTube say about the things that it's I think, you're right, that kind of journey before there was YouTube, and before, I would turn up in school in the rehearsal room and plug my guitar in there, and that was a different thing. Go to your music shop, plug into an amp, and you could play it loud, or go to rehearsal rooms and plug it in, and and if I wanted to learn something, I would have to go to the library or something and look up look on album covers, or go and find out about producers and what did they use, or look at pictures of Led Zeppelin. What is that amp he's playing, or what's that guitar, and sort of find your way around it like that. Where now it's flooded with, I have to be careful what I say, because I do it myself. I'm an influencer now. I'm an influencer now, and I don't mind it, but because I think the community is really good, and I'm me. I want to make sure that people follow me because it's me. If they don't like me, I don't care. Follow somebody else. But I'm not going to change myself or my my perspective, or my what is it called? My what kind of gear I like, and I'm not going to change that for someone else because they think that that's the best, or they say that I'm me here and I'm using what I need, what I use. And that's if you can use whatever you want. I'm not here to tell people what to do. They can ask me, and I can suggest some things, and I'll happily do that and help along the way. But I'm never going to tell anyone what they should play. I can joke sometimes with Digital John and say you should plug into a real amp. But it's a bit of you never know what real tones is unless you play. But it's that's a bit of a joke, because I know that. The majority of people today that start playing guitar probably will never have an amp. Not majority, but a massive part of newcomers that pick up a guitar, they'll buy a little thing and they'll have headphones on. And that's just the reality of it.
Yes, it's interesting. I once went into I used to work at a large retail store in my hometown, and I once went in there, and I went past the booths where they have like all the big amps and everything, and I actually saw that like sort of aha moment from a guy who was never using an amp before. Like he was using XFX and all these things, and he was passing by the same time I was passing by, and he was like, and somebody was playing like a really loud 5150, like fully, and with a lower tuned guitar and everything, so like really beefy sounding.
Yeah.
The guy was looking, and I was looking at him. It's like, sounds great, huh? It's like, oh, so how that sounds like in real life.
Yeah.
So he like the air that was moving, and you could feel that outside the room. Imagine inside.
Yeah.
And
it's a whole different thing.
It's a different thing, and he was like, I think he from that moment on, he was kind of thinking, okay, what I have here is a nice little box that's very convenient, and I still think that these little boxes, they're great for the things to make it easier for people to like tour, because not everybody has a crew that can get all your stuff set up, and it's like some people just have a little like QC or whatever it is, they plug it in, and they can travel in their car to gigs.
Yeah.
I think it's very convenient, but the difference...
It is very convenient.
Yeah, the difference to the real thing is huge.
It's, but it's funny you say that. I've been trying to get people, like Marshall or whoever, Mr. Boogie or Fender or whatever, to or Gibson could do it in the Gibson showrooms, they could set up some rooms with some really big amps in there so people could come in. I don't think there's many places where you can try to go in and plug into a 412 JCM 800 and just go and then just play a chord. I think, and there's some magic there. There is definitely some magic.
Oh yeah,
that teaches you completely. Even an AC30s, everybody goes, that sounds nothing like my Kemper profile or my profile in my Moore. I'm like, no, it doesn't, because it isn't an AC30. No. It's going to take your head off. And it's you never play at 150 watt amp. If you don't know how to play. You're never going to get a 100 watt amp to sound good if you don't know how to play the instrument and play the amp. It's a completely everything. It's compared to MP3s and a record. It's so compressed, and there's no you're here. This is what you get in any of these boxes, which is fine. You don't need it because you're going out of speakers, big speakers, and in-ears, and then you'll find here you're mixed into the mix. But with an amp, you're just getting so much more room to just little feel, little touch, little things. There's no noise gate to go all the time. Oh, this but I can hear his but that's because it's loud as fuck. You have that's what it's. Oh my god, it's making a noise. That's just what it is. Embrace that magic. Can you imagine Jimi Hendrix how loud it must have been? It was glorious, Imagine amazing. Him on in-ears, and all you could hear was the drum kit in the background. It would be awful.
Yeah.
Or Led Zeppelin, where all you can hear is just John Bonham, and the rest is, if you can't hear it, it would just be terrible. It wouldn't be the same kind of magic. We would never had the music that these people created, these bands, these artists. I don't think if we've had QCs and no offense, because as you say, I really rate all of these products. I think they're great, and they're getting better and better all the time. And it's so good that we can't tell the difference in the videos anymore when they're coming out of speakers. So it's not about that. I use lots of plugins here, Universal Audio plugins. I use the neural plugins and stuff, but I record when I do session stuff because it sounds fine.
Yeah.
And if the artist doesn't ask necessarily for a tube amp recorded with the 57 and a Royer, then and they're fine with what it is. Then they're fine with what it is. You can hear the difference, though. I can tell the difference if I recorded it through some good outboard, but most people can't.
No, it's true.
It's true.
There's a word you used, magic, and I think it's really hard to quantify. But in my experience, it's when you have the amp that is exactly the sound you were looking for. It's at the sweet spot, and then your fingers start to do shit it's never done before. All the hours of practice you had in your room where you sound like a god, all of a sudden this amp is translating it. So you have the right feedback, and you have the right response. So you're inspired, which is sometimes hard to do with digital modeling. And then you're playing better than you ever would before, right? So if the gear inspires you, that's what you're looking for. So if for someone the experience is modeling, and then they go on to a real amp, like you were saying earlier, Frank, 5150 just dialed in right. You're listening to this, your pant legs are like fucking shaking, and you're like, it's hitting you right in the chest, right? Modeling doesn't do that.
No.
I mean, it tries
it doesn't. Yeah, but it doesn't. It doesn't. It just doesn't, because there isn't. I mean, and I had to, when I did the Aldiva thing, and I was playing with you talk about feedback. I had to go and buy a Les Paul because I was playing a Strat, and because I was using the Line 6 thing, there wasn't any feedback on, because I didn't have any wedges or anything on stage in here, so I had to go and buy a Les Paul to get some kind of sustained feedback from this whole thing.
Wow.
And I managed to make it work somehow, but it was just not the same. It's not the same. You can feel those vibrations, and it's a certain way that is the magical thing, and it's real. there's a real thing in it, you know, which there just isn't. Even in FRFR caps, which I've never understood the whole point of an FRFR cap. No offense to everybody out there, I don't get it. I don't understand it, because it's essentially just you could bring 2 light generics and have much better sound if you want to, instead of a cap. If you want that, just have a Hot Rod Deluxe and bring with you. It's almost the same size. It weighs probably less, to be honest. Yeah. Use the effects loop. You get a real speaker made for electric guitar, and you get one of the tubes, you know, from the sound, and then you can use the power amp with all of those preamps that are built into these fantastic systems. That's how I would do it. That's how Repair does it. You know, it's like a hybrid setup, and I don't get the 4x12 cabs or the 212. They weigh an absolute ton, you know, and I know people are buying lots of them, and it doesn't sound like an amp. That's the thing. And you might as well have a wedge, in my opinion. I mean, I wouldn't use that if I went on tour. I would just use in-ears or whatever.
Yeah, I was recently at a concert here. I went to see for the first time in my life, actually, and I was a hardcore fan back in the 90s and early 2000s. I went to see Dream Theater.
Oh, right.
And the thing with these guys is, like, first of all, in comparison to a couple of other bands in the same age, they still bring it. They still bring it. They're just so unbelievably on spot. You know, they're just so in the pockets, just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Even the singer had a good day, and I mean, this guy, you know, with the high stuff that he sings, sometimes is difficult. So he had a very good day. It was a great show. And Petrucci has all of his, well, he still has amps with him, but they're like under the stage, mic'd up. But he still, and they all play with in-ear, because lots of their stuff has like installations and light, and so everything is synchronized. But he has still 2 Mesa Boogie wedges with guitar speakers in them. So like one signal gets routed to the wedges, so he gets that really nice feedback stuff. And it's not only the feedback that starts to, you know, weep at some point. It's about the string feedback. It's the string feedback is just something that I would totally miss if I was playing in-ears and I had no point of feedback, like at all. I had no point of where the vibrating string connects with its counterpart. And the sound was monstrous, unbelievable. It was a great show. It was really good. They played for like 3 hours.
Wow. You could do that. There's something I heard you as well. There's something godly. There's some power in there, in that connection between. It's like a drummer hitting a drum, bang, you know, and you could do like really, really slightly, and then slam the shit out of it. Yeah. It's exactly the same for a guitar player. It's the dynamics and that whole connection between the person, the guitar, the fingers, the strings, the pickups, you know, the cables and the pedals and the amp and the speakers, and that whole thing is a connection that was there back then, and people don't experience that. The drummers experience it, but you tell a drummer you have to play an electric kid on tour, you go, I'm never going to do that, you know. You won't do that. Bass players are easier. Keyboard players and bass players are easier, because their bass players just plug directly in, and they're like, that's fine, you know, unless they need something else. They're much easier to in that respect. But it's like a horn player. Yeah, to play one of those electric horns. Like, no, I want to feel the embouchure and the aperture, whatever it is, aperture. I can't remember. You know, the whole thing. There's so many ways to play an instrument. You know, piano players as well. If you play a proper Steinway. It just disappears somehow in this that's good enough thing, and it is good enough, I guess. And I hate sounding old in that respect, but I just think people you're not experiencing the magic that we had. You know, go into the rehearsal room, and when you're playing, it's so loud, the drum and the bass, you're playing this old Marshall, you know, 4x12, and you come out of there and your ears are bleeding, and you're like, that was the best evening of my life, because you were just playing loud cover songs of you know, and you all get on it and you all play, you know, that thing. It's just that I feel a little bit sorry for the kids, not just want to be, and no offense to anyone, that just wants to be on Instagram or YouTube or anything like that. But you have to go and have a band and play loud and just having the in your ears afterwards, you know. I think that's so important to become a musician, you know.
The way I see this, it's kind of like if you open up a book and you see a picture that is supposed to represent the Mona Lisa, right? You're looking at it and you go, what's the big deal? And then you go to Paris, you actually see the Mona Lisa in person. You can see all the cracks in the painting. You can see all the different colors, the nuances, the textures. Completely different experience from looking at a reproduction in a book. And I think for the musician, maybe not the audience, but for the musician, that's the difference. Okay, yeah, you have maybe a Dumble in your modeling amp, but playing the real thing might be a completely different experience for you. Yeah, you get the gist, you get the vibe, but getting that air moving, feeling that tension is completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I played a Dumble at NAMM. You know, we got to go into that Dumble room they had.
Oh yeah.
And it's something completely different, you know. And I didn't know how to approach it at first because it was, you know, one, there is this thing, this aura around that name, you know, that you're kind of almost scared to what's going to happen when I play the first note, and there was 20 people looking at you, you know. And it took a little while to get to understand the amp, you know, and people are, what are you talking about? You just play an E chord. I was like, no, it's not that simple sometimes with this stuff. It is not like plugging into, you know, a GT 1000 or GT, whatever it is, the busting, you know, and it's all good stuff. You know, I used to use an ME5 and a Valve State 8080. That was my rig for like ages, you know. That was when I was first, I had that and I loved it. I bought an ME5 actually recently. It's all boxed and everything. And I still get some good tones out of it, you know. And I think there's just I don't know, I lost the train of thought about, but there's just the magic that people are just missing out on, you know. It's with gears, and people buy 250 quid pedals, and then you could buy a 50 quid pedal that can sound somewhere like in the vicinity of it. But I think also and I know some people might get offended with this, but if you're not good enough to play the 50 quid pedal well enough, or the 100-pound guitar, you're not good enough to play. You'll never get the best out of the 250, 300 quid pedal and the 8,000-pound custom shop Les Paul. We're talking there's this much different in them, but if you're not good enough to get that out of this, you're never going to get that out of that. You're still only going to get that out of that. You know, a Martin guitar, for instance, a 5-6 grand Martin guitar. If you don't know how to get the best out of a 100 quid East Coast, you're never going to get that stuff out of a J45 from 1950s, whatever. You're not. And that's practice, and that's, you know, that's just life experience, I guess. And, you know, I don't know. And some people play guitar for 40 years and they'll never get it, you know. They'll just love it, but I mean, I play guitar every single day, all day long. I haven't done for a long while. I've been a bit down, but recently, the last 2 weeks here, has just been constantly, again, just back on it.
So right now you're on vacation, actually?
Yeah, we just studio sort of closed for vacation for a little bit, and I just you know, I had lots going on, personal stuff, and I just needed to take some time out. I've been doing the Andersons thing for 10 years now.
Wow.
And you know, I used to tour and it was great and fun, and I stopped touring because I wanted to spend some more time at home. And then it didn't happen because it became such a big machines, you know. And I just felt like I needed to take a little bit of time out, so I took some time out, and it's been really good to find that love for the music again, which I felt like I lost a little bit by doing firmware updates that didn't work, and you know, that kind of stuff. You know, doing 4 videos on products that you know are good, but you're like, oh, you know, let's we do another of these, whatever it might be, or another. You know, it's a lot to do. We would do 4 videos a day. You know, we put up 1 video a day on the main channel. You know, and then we got the keyboard channel as well, that they put 3 videos out on a week, and then all the other stuff that's going on, and social media bits and pieces, and you know, there's lots of work, and I just needed to sort of have a little break from it all, you know, and that's been really good for me to do that, actually, and go back to my own thing again. Got the studio up here now. I haven't had one here in the house for 8 months. It's just been, you know, it's just been a mess in the room, and now I've sorted it out, and I'm ready to step up and do some more videos on my own channel, and you know, because I'm in love with it again now. I just lost the spark from it all, you know. But you plug into an amp, and I still play a chord, and it's still like, oh yeah, there it is, you know. There's still something therapeutic about guitars, and for me, you know.
Yes.
Sorry, I interrupted.
No. I interrupted you, but that's the when you replied and said like, hey, how are things? And we talked again about like the possibility of you coming on the podcast. Yeah. I was like, wow, okay. We are able to, you know, talk to you, although you have this like massive schedule. And then you said, like, when we were talking offline, sort of, that, you know, you're taking some time out. And I was like, the first thing I was thinking was like, good for him. Because although I highly admire and, you know, hat tip to you guys for what you've built in the past, what was it, like 10, 15 years, like if you count it all together?
Yeah, before me, yeah, 15 years. I've been part of it for 10 years, yeah. It's
so the volume you guys are creating in terms of content, to me, was always like, how on earth are they able to do that? We were talking about it on every time we were talking about Andertons, and we were talking about like guitar YouTube. Obviously, Andertons is a big part of that. So in every time we were asking ourselves like, how the hell are you able to maintain that volume, like video after video after video, and like then all the, so it's to us it was always like it's a machine. It's a total machine.
It is. It's we love it, you know. I think, and we've got some good people. Austin Taylor. Taylor's now sort of the manager of the channel. He does the day-to-day, you know, arranging to talk to brands, get gear in, and make sure it's all there for when we do the videos on a Monday and Tuesday, whatever. And Oz is a fantastic editor. He edits all the time, you know. Also fantastic musicians. He's in some of the videos. He's like this Doom guy, you know. And he's filming and does the keyboard. There's those two basically does most of it, and I help out with some editing needs to do, and you know, I talk to brands and stuff, and but you know, I had to step back from it a little while ago because it was just all too much, and then Taylor came in and took over. But yeah, I think in the beginning, I remember doing like 10 videos a day just on my own, you know. I had no idea what to do. It was Lee, oh, do you want to come and take over this channel? I was like, yeah, that's going to be cool. You know, you pay your salary. And I was like, fine, that's great. I don't have to worry about being on tour and worry about the next gig and that, you know. So I went for it. And in the beginning, I was just it was just guitar playing videos. It was like top shelf guitars, and we came up with this concept of having it like a TV channel. So you would have like all about the bass, and you would have a guitar acoustic show, and you know, we wanted to run it like that, and it worked. And we were actually doing 2 videos a day at some point, one in the morning and one in the evening, and we were just firing all these videos out, you know, completely mad, and you know, it can never last. It's too much, you know. But it's like I see it like we are a band. You know, Lee, me, Oz, and Taylor. We are this sort of band, and we've got some personalities in there. We got some people, and we got, you know, the crazy lead singer who needs to, you know, to take some time out and need to take a break and stop drinking and all that stuff, you know. And then we got the people who's trying to keep it together and all sorts of stuff, and bands needs breaks too sometimes. Yeah. So although they've been keep going while I've been away, I think it's been good for everybody just to have a little break. And they've had John in and Ben in, and they've had some people coming in doing videos while I've been gone, which is good. And it just gives everybody a little bit of a breather for a minute, because 10 years of that is it's been pretty full on, you know. And it's not that I don't like it. I love it. It's just, and that's why I'm not just going, you know what, I think I just need to do something else completely. I don't want it. It's also my baby. You know, I've built that channel up with Lee and the guys, you know, for 10 years, and I want to see it have 1 million subscribers, which is close to now, I believe.
Yeah.
And it would just be nice to still be a part of it, you know. So, but it's good with a break, and I think I've been talking to a couple of guys with the whole YouTube thing and the Instagram game, and they don't really know what they're doing, where they're going to go with it, because there's so much of it going on now, you know. Do they need to keep on doing pedal demonstrations, or do we do teaching, or what do I do? And I'm like, you know, there's so many people out there just sitting playing guitar on the YouTube, on their Instagram or whatever, and they get good views and stuff, but they've got nothing. There's nothing other than because for me, I think some personality needs to shine through. There has to be something that I can connect with on a personal level with somebody. That's why you follow people on social media. You know, you feel like you know them. And if somebody just plays the same licks all the time, it doesn't matter. But if there's no sort of engagement with people, they really need that engagement, I think. People need engagement, and they need to be able to identify with you, you know. It's really important. And they need to see who you really are. And you're not somebody who just goes, hello, welcome to my channel. You know, today I'm going to look at this. It's, you know what I mean? That has to be, but you know what I mean? Because somebody gave you 500 quid to say something nice about blah, you know, and make it, here's some money, make it sound good, and say something nice. And I'm like, oh, that's not how I want to do it. You know, I want people to believe me and trust me that the stuff that I say, that's why, you know, you get honesty from us, you know, to as much as we can. We don't charge money. We've always been fair, and if there's something that we think is not the best product to film for us, we will put it to one side, and we'd rather not do it. Okay. Because it can be hurtful for companies, you know, for little companies, that if they can see that it's not, that these guys don't like it or whatever, I wouldn't want to be that guy that sits and slags stuff up on YouTube and gets likes, and because of slacking people off. You know, I'd rather just go, no, I'll leave that to somebody else, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's more fair. Because it can destroy people's livelihoods, you know, and I don't want to be that guy, you know. It is hard. Sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. The thing is, there are a few things to dissect there, which are like super interesting points. Obviously, there is a difference between like the type of content you do, especially when it comes to like you're getting paid to do something, you know, and then there's a difference between a review and a demo. And that's something we always talk about. It's like, you know, if it's a demo, then usually you stick to a certain script. You stick to something that the brand would like to get out there as a message. If it's a review, then it kind of depends who the reviewer or the influencer or the YouTuber is, and what kind of spiel they're running. You know what? You know, if it's someone who has a certain personality and presents things a certain way, and people just resonate with it, and therefore the word of the product gets out. And then the thing that you were mentioning, you know, about like sort of educational content. And interestingly, educational content seems to have the longest lifespan, because, you know, there's a new product coming out, there's a new pedal coming out, and then people talk about it, and then after 3 weeks, it kind of goes away, because there's already the next pedal in line, or the next thing, you know. But with educational
the next
content,
Telecaster.
Exactly, the next Telecaster, the next Strat, the next, you know, the next Kemper. But with educational content, it's like that sticks around for a longer amount of time, and if you wanted, you can still place some product in there. You know, you can still say, by the way, if you guys are wondering, I'm using this and this and this, and now let's get into the educational part. And it's going to help the brand, but that stuff is going to stick around for way longer, because people are always eager to learn something. You know?
I think you're right. I think it's the same thing. I think there's a lot of educators out there now. It's difficult to get on that ladder now. You know, you got Justin Guitar and Marty, and you know, you got a couple of people, Paul. They're all set up high. It's really difficult now to get back in there and be the next guy.
But a lot of people like you. But that's the thing. You said, you know, people want to relate with someone. Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of people relate with Paul and with all the other guys.
Yeah.
But the thing, a lot of people really like you and they look up to you and you know, they relate with you because they feel like and not only because you are very approachable. If I see you on screen, every time, you know, I see you, you know, walking around somewhere. We met at Guitar Summit, for example, last year.
Yeah.
You're always like super approachable, you know, even if it's just for a short moment.
It's just a mask, man. It's just a mask. No, I'm kidding.
Welcome to my channel.
Yeah. It's like that. No. Yeah. No, I thought it's funny. I've spoken to these people that call me up and ask me about, and it's just recently while I've come back from my, you know, from my my spiritual journey, you know, that I've been on to find myself and something more out there. I think the whole thing is just about being yourself. I think that's so important, man. You know, and I think. There's some people that come into a room, like Greg Koch, for instance. You know, he comes into a room and it's like, wow, there he is. You know, he's just like this.
He was a freaking giant.
Yeah, but that's also that. But there's some people that has this personality, and that you walk up or you can see them over there, and there's just this aura and this vibe that is just, they're just happy and they love what they do. Yes. They've obviously been through some stuff. You know, they've been through some stuff that has helped them develop something. They've gone through some trauma or some grief or something at some point. You know, maybe they've been drinking and they've been sober, whatever. There's something going on in their lives at some point. They've found, like, how I think I've kind of managed to change my life around after COVID, and it took a long time with everything that's been happening in my life. It's after COVID was like COVID, and then I was just. It wasn't great, you know, and I think I've managed to swap that around now for myself. I think it's taken me 4, 5, 6 weeks, you know, to do it. 4 weeks constantly, just like proper engaging with myself and my, you know, my inner self. You know, it's been quite a lot of work, but I think we need to do that, you know. And I'm not getting any younger, you know. I'm up there as well now, and I can't just go around pleasing. Yeah, well, you know,
can't be that old, dude.
Well, I'm going to be 49 in a couple of weeks. No, in September, you know. But yeah, so it's like, you know, we do sort of. I just want to be happy with the stuff, and I want to be me, you know. And I've been trying to please people. You probably do the same thing. You try to please people. You want to be the best, you know, YouTuber. You want to be the best husband, father, whatever it might be. And then all of a sudden you go, what am I doing? What am I doing with me? I need to look at myself a little bit, look inwards and find out, are you happy actually? What's going on with you? You're just trying to make everybody else happy. And that's what I was trying to do. And I love making people happy. I love inspiring people. That's my main thing. When people come to me and they go, oh, I watched this video and you were playing this thing, and, you know, I haven't played guitar for 6 years or whatever. And because I had some stuff happening in my family, and I watched the video and it was just really lovely. And I just picked the guitar up and now I'm back into it. You know, that sort of thing. You know, I had people come up at NAMM saying, you know, I was going through cancer treatment, and all I was doing was just watching you guys on YouTube, and, you know, it gets me, and those things really get this thing, you know, that's worth all of it. I don't care if you sell 20 of those guitars on the back of a video. Really, it's at least shot. It's a shot at the end of the day. But if somebody comes up and says, I watched this video and I was going through this, it's just, that's great, you know. And I do that any day. You know, we had a kid who had cancer. He was a really young boy, and I've got a call that he was looking for this Ibanez guitar, and one of my friends, and And he was a big fan of the channel, and we got him in, and he was terminal, and he came in and saw the huge studio, and we had the guys from Ibanez Headstock, and they got him a guitar, and he got an amp, and we got this special guitar from him. Somebody actually donated this Ibanez guitar. Somebody I found. There was just one of them. What was it called? It's the one that I can't remember now. It's quite a while ago now, and it was quite traumatic. But he's passed away now. But just seeing him come into the YouTube studio there and sit with us and spend the day with us, that's really powerful stuff. When you do stuff like that, and everybody steps up, like he had Lee Wraith and the people from Headstock turned up, and they had amps, and they brought him up to see Ibanez UK and Headstock distribution.
Wow.
And Laney, they got him up there and with his parents, and if we can do stuff like that once in a while for people, man, that's so much worth. It's so worth it. It's not about the money. It's not about that 250 quid that somebody pays you to do a YouTube video. It's not about the 50,000 views or even 1,500 views you get. It's not about that stuff. For me, it's not about that stuff. It's about all of those things that you can, and this is me being the spiritual the last 4 weeks of me finding, it's just, you just realize that you're in this position that we're not even huge, you've got actors that have got millions, 20 millions, can you imagine like The Rock, he does one thing for somebody and it's just, they'll remember that forever, and we can do a little bit, we can do a little bit of that by just taking the time to talk to people, engage with people, and when they write a comment on an Instagram post or whatever, you just reply back. Oh, I can't believe you replied back. Of course, and that's worth it for me. I don't care if there's 100,000 views or 1 million subscribers. It's not really that. It's really not really that important. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, but I don't know if I'm being too. I don't know what I want really, but I don't want to be somebody who takes advantage of it all. I want to help, and I want to inspire people, and if I can do that just a little bit, then I'm happy. It's getting deep now.
But what you're saying, Pete, I think is way more profound than you think. For example, you just inspired me. I've been struggling. I have a YouTube channel too. Been doing it for 6 years. And the last year, man, has been depressing. It's been a fucking pain in my ass. Like, I film a video, I put it out, there's no views or barely any views compared to what I used to get. And then I'm sitting there going, it's me. I'm doing something wrong, right? And I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm in a rut. And then I'm watching you and you're saying, I'm taking a break. I feel guilty about taking a break. Like, I didn't want to take a break. So I keep putting out stuff, but I think in a way, I'm kind of putting out subpar videos just because I'm not as motivated as I used to be.
Yeah.
And I feel guilty about taking a break. But now you're saying, like, took a break, it feels good. You're getting your motivation back. So that, in a way, kind of gives me license to do that for myself, too.
I don't think it's a bad thing to take a break. But I just also think that maybe, that's why I haven't put anything out on my channel, because I didn't really know what to put out there, and I want to put out something that is me. I don't want to put something out that everybody else is putting out. Because there's not really much point in that, in my opinion. People need to, and it takes time. You've done it for 6 years. It's a long time, and at some point, Anderson's has a good recipe. There's a really good recipe with two people sitting having banter, and one is playing and one knows about the gear, and then there's a bit of joking and that stuff. And that was Rob and Lee that basically sort of founded that kind of thing. And when you see other channels try to do the same thing, it never really works. It does. It's kind of, it's some of them. There's a couple of places that are doing it well, but but they're not doing their own thing. This is what I'm trying to say, that you, and it is a rot, man. It is, that's why, even, it's not, is it? I mean, I love playing guitar, and that can, it was lots of other stuff as well for me that I needed to work on with myself, and taking a break was needed, not just for work and come back to work. It was more in here and here that needed to be sort of reconnected, and some brain waves, the brain pathways in the brain that needed to be reconnected with other things, and I get that, I do get it. What content do you put out?
It basically gear demos. Sometimes I do more in depth, like look at a musician, the gear, their sound throughout time. So sometimes I'll work for like an entire month on a video. So I did one on Queen, so Brian May.
Right.
I did another one on Tom Scholz from the band Boston. Those perform really, really well. Like they exceed what I usually get on my channel. But the thing is, they take a month to do, right? So you put out just one video in the month, you get a lot of views. But then you're thinking, well, I have this company that just sent me a pedal. What am I going to do with it? So then I try to be like innovative and try to come up with something, but then I get like crickets. And other times, I'm completely dismissive about the video, and I get a shit ton of views on it, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I put no effort in this fucking thing. Why am I getting the views? It's no different than the other ones. So demystifying like what works, what doesn't work, why something just took off. Fuck, man, it's over my head.
There's no algorithm. The algorithm, we've been trying to learn that for 10 years. What's the algorithm? You can always say that if you go the top 10 best, if you do a Rick Beato and do this sucks, or and he's doing amazingly well, and his interviews are great, and he's got a niche going on. He's got his thing now, and people are looking up to him to do a similar thing. But he's Rick Beato. It's like, I'm not Stevie Ray, so why would I play like Stevie Ray? I'm not John Mayer, so why I'm going to play like me. I'm going to be Pete. I'm going to be the best Pete I can ever be. And that's it. I can never be Gary Moore. I can never be Prince. I can never be Eric Clapton. The end, because they're already there, And I think that can go far in this industry, in the YouTube world or in the Instagram world or whatever. I think, and you should do what you enjoy doing as well. And eventually people will find you, and they'll go, oh, I like this guy, subscribe to that. I can't wait for his next video. And if it takes a month or 2 weeks, then it's worth it, And eventually you might find that you find an easier way to do it. You might know that if I'm doing another video on another guitar player, I've done it 4, 5, 6 times. Now it only takes me a week to get it done instead. That's the thing to find, isn't it? Find that thing. And then, I mean, no offense, but fuck a guitar pedal. If somebody sends you a guitar pedal, unless they're paying you £5,000 or £500, it's just the guitar pedal. And at the end of the day, as you said, I mean, that's the thing. Do you really want to do that? Do you really want to do another Overdrive video? I mean, I don't mind doing it, and I always want to work with people I like and friends, and I would not charge them for it. I don't charge people for it. I'd rather not do it, and I go, I'll get it done when I've got time, and then I can't tell you if I've got time now, but I'll do it at some point, and people understand that. But there's a sea of us out there, and you have to find your place in that sea. If you want to be at the Corals, or you want to be in the harbour, or where you want to be, where's that place where people is around you for how you are and what you're preaching out there. It's really difficult, man, because I see people fall all the time, and also the shitty comments doesn't help. You have to have thick skin to go on to put yourself out there.
Oh yeah.
And the thick skin of the numbers, all those little numbers. Oh, I only got 1,000 views, and I've worked on this for so long. It's painful, It's soul destroying. It is like if you paint a picture, nobody watches it in the gallery. It's the same thing. You would be like, oh, nobody's looking at my stuff, and it can be soul destroying. And
what I see is obviously. You have a very healthy view on that topic, especially like the getting yourself out there, being on YouTube, trying to build something. I guess the issue is that there are people out there who have created and established a business to that regard, you know? So that's why, or hence why we have the word YouTubers, because most of them are able to make a decent living. Others maybe not, but most of them are making a living out of it. And they're also kind of looking up to some of the guys who are like way up there, and they're looking at their numbers, and they're kind of getting an idea what these people charge because the word is out there, and they're like, oh, I need to get there as well. And that creates a certain pressure. And when you have that sort of pressure in your life, what happens is this taking a break is like, looks like weakness, difficult. You know, it's difficult because, you know, you might feel that you're weak, that you're not able to compete. You know, these are the words, like weak, compete, like these things, they weigh in on you. And it's
No, I think I'm lucky. I think I'm lucky in the fact that I could that where we are, we could make videos in advance, that there's enough of them to take some time off, you know. Which we always do. We always have videos for a month in advance, you know. And there's always videos that be shot today, edited this today, and live in the morning. We got those as well. You know, which most people don't do. You know, like, oh my God, I need at least 4 days to edit a video. We'll shoot it and edit it in 5 hours. You know, we can do that if you know. And some of the videos and new stuff coming out, they're filmed and edited the same day, and they're live the next day. That's a lot of it. You know,
even with new releases where eventually there's an NDA involved, it's you're just getting that just short before it releases.
Some of it, we don't have time to do it. We don't have time to do it, so we'll have to do it that day, and then it'll have to be live the next day. You know, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. You know, that happens quite regularly. We don't want it to happen because it's always a pain in the ass because it's extra work. You know, and us has to sit and edit it and has to be ready. And there's a web team that makes sure the thumbnail is right and the title is right and all the links are in there and you know, all the clicks to the, you know, that we don't do that because I used to do the whole thumbnails, man. It was just horrible. I can't. Well, like, you know, so
that's his job.
Now there's there's somebody now that does it, you know, and there's somebody who watches through the whole video, so make sure that when it's edited that we don't say any stupid things in there, you know. So we got quality control and you know, what we like. We can say some things sometimes that definitely cannot get out, but you know, so we have to have you know, we have to have the Vogue Brigade to sit at the other end when you got a couple of Gen X's. Gen X is sitting saying things sometimes. You said something about this. Are you sure that's all right to go out? And you're like, yeah, absolutely. You know, you know what I mean. You know, we say some stuff.
Just a dick joke. Come on.
That's a dick joke. Yeah. And then you get a comment going, oh, it's not funny or dick jokes. But then watch something else. You take the time to sit down and watch it all the way to the dick joke. There's 40 minutes in, and then you write a comment. You're going, why do you do that? Why don't you just watch something else? Why don't you just click, oh, these guys, I don't like these guys, watch something else? You know, it's the mind baffled. You know, it's just like, what?
You know,
spend your time on what?
You know what's worse?
You know, it's weird, isn't it?
You know what's even worse is that there are guys out there who watch a video that has just been released. The video, let's say the video has like 15 minutes of length, and you can see it was released 5 minutes ago, and the first person, amazing video, or it's like, again.
Oh, you didn't do this. Why didn't you check this out? Well, you know, I know, but you know, I think 4,000 videos or something we've done. I don't know, something like that crazy. And I can't anymore. I mean, there's water off a ducks now. All the bad comments if you get 1,000 comments, you get 10 bad comments. You tend to focus on those 10 bad comments for no other reason than it's a bad comment, instead of focusing on all the other nice comments that are all, you know, nice. And, you know, there's a lot of them that are just the same people saying the same thing. But there's always some nice things in there. And that's difficult in the beginning not to focus on those bad comments for people. And it hurts. You know, it can hurt. I think I'm lucky. I haven't had some really terrible comments directed at me, maybe a couple. But now it doesn't do anything to me anymore. People can say anything they want to me, come up to my face on the street and go say whatever. I'm like, it could be a YouTube comment, I don't care.
That will be something,
you know what
right?
I mean? I can't. I just, yeah, exactly. We did have a guy come up at NAMM saying, "I don't like your video, so I don't watch it." I was like, "Well, thanks for letting me know." And then he just walked off. It's like, great. You still know who I am, though.
Yeah.
So you still know we're out there. But yeah, I mean, yeah. What do you do with your channel now?
But that's
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But that's the kind of funny line, because obviously Anderton's as a business, it's good when people comment. Doesn't matter if it's like good or bad, because we've learned at least some things from the algorithm, and the algorithm says if there's lots of comments and lots of engagement, it's relevant, so it's going to be shown.
Yeah.
And so you have that, and in the same moment, if you have, like, let's say you have 10 bad comments, like some independent YouTuber out there with a sort of like more or less mood, can just say, you know what, fuck off. He could just come. Yeah. You as Andertons, you can't just get back to this guy as like, well, not really.
That's right. We can't. I mean, we've done it sometimes, me and Lee sitting on a Saturday, just being sort of sarcastic. "Oh, really sorry they didn't like the video. We're going to refund you your monthly subscription to Anderton's TV." Like that. You know what I mean? "Oh, wait, it's fucking free. It's free content. And you don't have to watch it." You know what I mean? That we used that quite a lot, and then we had people going, "You can't comment," from the web team. When you get somebody saying, "You guys are not allowed to comment anymore," because sometimes people don't understand the sarcasm. And that's fine. But we stopped doing that as well, I think. But it is. You're right. You can't do that as a shop, but we could do a little bit like Aldi and Lidl. They've got their little battles going on.
Yeah.
Online. Their little. With the Caterpillar and all that stuff. We can, or Ryanair, where it's a little bit of a sarky, funny comment. I suggested to do that many times, and they're still warming up to the idea of doing that. Because you don't want to scare people away, but if you make it funny, people will understand that it's funny.
Yeah.
And the people who don't understand that it's funny, man, or whatever. I mean, we did a video, and it was a semi-hollow shootout, right?
Okay.
Video, and I called it "Hard On for Semi." Right? Have you got a hard on for a semi? Hard on for semi. And we had somebody call in to the shop and went, I'm offended. And it wasn't somebody who even, who would even watch the video. It was some woman. "I'm offended at the title. You can't call it that." So we had to change it. I thought it was funny. And it was a shootout, hard on for semi. We shoot 4 semi hollow guitars out. It was just a bit of a joke, but that. Obviously, you can't say that anymore.
Wow.
I thought it was quite funny. Yeah, So, but that's the thing I talk about with the personality. You have to have your personality has to shine through. You have to do the videos you want to do on your channel. You have to talk about the subject you want to talk about. It's not about people out there what they want to hear. I don't think personally. I think it's about people coming and finding you, and eventually when they find you, they'll be your loyal followers and subscribers. They'll love you for what you do, and it's not like you're struggling out there trying to get everybody by randomly with a net just casting out, getting people that won't follow you for more than 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 weeks, and then they're gone. I think and we got to know strict policy. If you are mean and you're saying something mean to someone, or you're being a bully, block immediately. I don't care. Just you're just blocked out.
Yep.
We don't need that 2 or 3 followers a month that are idiots that is out there just to engage with other people in a bad way. There's no point in it. Just go away, do your shit someplace else, Or we put your name, your real name, your address, and your phone number, and your picture on when you get a YouTube account, and then you'll watch people would be nice to each other, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
because you can be anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's but I don't know. It's yeah. Anyway, keep going on about that for ages.
Yeah, it's easy to be a dick when you're anonymous. You can say whatever you want. You can be disparaging as you want. But yeah, for sure, if you have your real name and people can see exactly who you are, that's different, because then you have to own the words you just used, or the insult that you just put out. Like, let's say we're doing the podcast, and I mean to one of you two. You guys can retort. Like, you're not going to take it on the chin and just be nice. You're going to be like, excuse me, dude. Like, why are you talking to me like this? Like, something going on? Should we talk? Like, can we take this off the air and see how tough you are? Like, but online, everything goes. And then, you know.
And because it's just, I would like to do some more live streams, I think, just to engage with people a little bit more. I think that would be really good. To do the whole live stream thing once, like, you know, that pedal show Mick and Dan does. They'll take questions and talk to people. And, you know, they got a really solid following, those guys. You know, the guys that love their content and love them as people and really respect their opinions and stuff. And I think that's super important. You know, it doesn't matter if they only have 400,000, whatever it is, subscribers. Still a lot, you know. That community of people are just tight knit. You know, they love it. They're there for them, and they're there for the people. And I love that. That's really important, that you have that group of you know. I mean, we're a little bit more broad because you will have all sort of ages, and you know, we have to cater for different audiences with different gear, cheaper gear, more expensive gear. But I think for you, for me, for us, you know, we need to be us and put us out there, and then let people find us for who we are, not just going, I need to do this video that now, Boss has got to do pedal out, blanket bomb, you know. We're talking, you know, then you get, you know, it's ice talk, you know, he just, it's crazy. It's just for everywhere you look, there's this new pedal from whoever it is, and you know, I'm not hating on the companies or anything, because they know it works. Fender does it, and I don't really want to be a part of that. I'd rather wait. I'll do a video and then I'll wait a week or two till it's all died down a bit, and then I do my video. Then you'll watch the numbers are much better, and also they want to see what you have to say about it, you know. But it's a difficult world at the moment. This YouTube thing, it's like,
the YouTube thing right now is sort of more difficult for everyone, even for some of the established guys. And you see more and more videos on the topic, which is very interesting. But it seems like nobody really gets a grip on what the underlying issue is. You know, I mean, guitar YouTube is difficult because the MI industry is difficult right now. It's because it's an industry that relies heavily on emotion-based purchase decisions, you know, because nobody needs 10 guitars in reality. Unless, of course, like you, that, you know, you're a pro and you're on tour, and you're on tour with an act where there's a lot of, you know, musical variety, and you have 10 guitars, but you can sort of justify every guitar because it has a certain purpose for your work. Whereas the guy, you know, an average Joe, you know, is that nobody can play 10 guitars at once, you know. So this is all emotion based. And since everybody is right now in sort of a rational mode because there's so much stuff happening, and there's like economic instability and insecurity, everybody's keeping their cash together.
Yeah.
And that's why there's also less things happening on guitar, YouTube, or like, I mean, it's not the only industry. The bike industry is also affected heavily. It's like things are not going well for them.
Yeah. No, it's everybody where there's but the thing is, there's always the people who've got 10 grand to buy another guitar. That's the weird thing. You know, you'll always see the expensive Tom Murphy lab. They're always out the door constantly. The really high-end amplifiers, high-end acoustic guitars. There's always the people that had money before have got even more money now. And you know, they come in with the Philip Patek watch, and they'll buy 2 guitars worth, you know, 30 grand, and just it doesn't matter for them. It's everybody else that are struggling a little bit, and I completely understand that, you know. And also, to be completely honest, if you buy a Squire Classic Vibe Telly and a Strat, you got 2 amazing guitars there.
Yeah,
they sound good, they play good. For value for money, that's, you know, 6-7, that's 700 quid. Can't go wrong with that. You don't need to spend $5,000 on a custom shop, which but that's a custom shop cost now $5,000. It's insane. There's just completely no reason for it. I play a lot of guitars all the time, luckily enough. And as I said earlier, if you're not good enough to get the Squiers sound good, you'll never get this customs out of what the custom shop gives you a little bit more. You're just not. No,
it's true.
And I'll be happy with this. I would buy Classic Vibe all day long, any day, all day long. I'll just have 2 of those, and then if I needed a Les Paul, I'll probably get just the new Epiphone. They're great. There's no need to buy one of these.
Yeah, but that's gorgeous.
That's gorgeous as well. Yeah, it's a gorgeous guitar.
That's a Tom Murphy. That's a Tom Murphy 57, so a real Tom Murphy, which he always does the little thing down here.
Yeah.
There. TM. So there's a T and an M. He always, this old razor blade. Yeah, see, in all of them. I've got another one next door.
Wow.
But this just came in the shop and I picked it up and I just needed it. I don't need it, but I needed it. It's one of those things. You don't need it, man. You don't need it. I'm like, oh, it's so good. And that's actually going back to that whole thing. What I really enjoy now is more being a part of developing gear.
Oh, yeah.
Pickups, amps, pedals, guitars. That's really fun for me. I'm really enjoying that.
It's a great
to
place
see
to be.
people play. Yeah, it's really. And I'm a guitar player, man. I'm a session guy. At the end of the day, who am I to have signature anything? But unfortunately for me, unfortunately for a lot of people, that's the way it is now. That's just the way influencers and YouTubers. They're the ones who get all the signature gear. For me, it's more important that I want to use it. I see a lot of people having signature gear and they never use it, which is like, well, what? That feels like it's just a bit for the money. I got my Dane still. I play my amps that I do. I've got the DPT, and I play the stuff that I'm involved with because I made it, so I want to play it because that's the most important thing for me. But yeah, that's fun. That's really fun to do that. And it keeps your head out of that whole thinking about people not liking you on YouTube and why is your numbers not good and blah blah blah. It just gives you another thing to lean towards.
Yeah.
That's definitely kept me a little bit sane to be to have those projects happening. But yeah, it's still a wonderful job.
Yeah. So
look at us. We sing talking gear now. It's great.
So your long-term plan is definitely to return to your baby, or is?
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to do it. Sort of. I think we all just decided we're going to keep doing it. The YouTube thing. I'm going to go back 2 days a week, and just do videos. But we're just going to. It's like playing with an artist that you like instead of playing with an artist that you don't like and you're just doing for the money.
Yeah.
So we're going to pick the videos that we think could be good instead of picking the videos that we know it's going to be, here we go. Here's 5. Let's compare 5 more, 5 things that are supposed to sound like amplifiers,
Dude, I so
and they all have to be updated. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And they all have to be firmware updated and they all have to, and you're like, oh my God, and you spend 2 hours in the morning trying to firmware update it and it doesn't work, and then it's a beta version and, all that sort of stuff. So we're going to try to keep it to make sure we know exactly what we're doing. Because it's still fun, we still have fun at the end of the day, and I still love it. And but I'm going to do a bit more of my own stuff as well, I think, in the future. Just slowly start doing some YouTube videos at some point. But I like you. I don't know where I really want to go with it. Just sit. Have you watched Tom Bukovac stuff?
Oh yeah, from here and there, I've watched his stuff. Yeah,
and he the way he does it, I really admire that. He's turned that into some really good stuff. You just sit down, put the camera on. It's just an iPhone or whatever. Sits and plays a little bit, and he just has a little subject he just talks about that day.
Yeah,
I really like that, and because he's also a session guy, he's an amazingly accomplished, successful session player. You know, he's got so many stories, and he's an amazing guitar player. You know, and he came out of nowhere. I didn't know about him. Still, all of a sudden, somebody seen this guy on some book. I'm like, wow, this guy's amazing. And there's just some wisdom there, and people follow him because they want to hear more of his wisdom.
Yeah.
And his personality and the way he just plays the guitar, like one note, is fucking incredible. You know, it's not about fancy. It's not about a YouTube video on a pedal or anything like that. It's not why he does doing it. He's doing it almost like a diary sort of thing. You know, that's one other thing I've done for 4 weeks. And every day I would write down a diary. What do I think about today? What did I do today? I've done that. That's a really powerful thing. You know, it's a really powerful thing. I've done a whole video every morning. I did a little video for 4 weeks of myself. What am I doing today, and what was yesterday, and you know, and watching it all back. It's really powerful to you know, to keep some kind of structure on yourself. What are you doing?
Nice.
What is happening with your life? What did you do today? What did you do yesterday? What was good? Who do you speak to that spoke to you and you got something out of it? You know, what did you do? Did you walk for a walk or drive or whatever? Do you listen to some new music, or you know? Because I think we forget about all those little brilliant little things.
Yeah.
And it could be a little tiny thing somebody says to you and go, oh my god, why did I think about, you know? Or so you see something and it's like, oh, I don't want to do that too. Or, you know, I think we just miss so much stuff because we are so involved with trying to get views and making the right video, and not to piss those people off because you didn't do the video on that thing they wanted you to do. And, you know, but that's life, isn't it? It's getting deep now, man. Yeah, it's getting deep.
I think the word that I'm hearing you say, but you haven't really said it, is the word passion. Do something you're passionate about. If you're doing it about a pedal and you're not, like, who's passionate about a pedal? I don't know very many people that are like, man, I based my whole life around these 3 knobs on this fucking pedal. No, that doesn't happen. But people get passionate about, like, let's say the sound. You know, some people are obsessed with Stevie Ray Vaughan or with John Mayer. They love the tone, they love the nuances in their playing and stuff like that. Yeah. If we focused on what drove us to play guitar, or what's still driving us to play guitar, and we made content about that, maybe we would be more relatable to people. They'd go, this person really, like, they really encapsulate the love I have for this particular style of music or this particular player or whatever. But if we're doing it about the gear and not obsessing about what is driving us to be motivated to play music or write new music or stuff like that, and we're just like, hey, I'm turning the knob. This is a gain knob. The more you turn it up, the more saturated the tone gets. Like, fuck, I've done videos like that when I started, and people called me out on it. They're like, dude, you think we're idiots? We know what level means. Like, just play the damn thing. You wasted 2 minutes explaining 3 knobs. And I was like, yeah, but I've seen other people do it, so I thought everyone wanted us to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so now just cut that shit out, right?
Yeah, but that's where you need to come in. You as the personality, you need to come into the picture. They turn on to watch you play that pedal. Yeah, you know, and I think also what's happening out there at the moment is that people are not really letting the gear inspire them. That's what I see, because they spend more time updating the firmware, buying some new stuff. They got 150 amplifiers in there and 150 IRs and it's 20 fucking chorus pedals, and I'm going, and you don't need all that shit, and you're just trying to make a patch. Oh no, it doesn't sound good, I'm going to load this IR. You spend 2 hours trying to make something sound good. You could have just plugged into guitar, into an amplifier, and you could just have played, and you could have become more one with the guitar, with the instrument, than you spent 2 hours just fiddling around with some fucking piece of software. Why did you do that for? So you're not interested in the guitar. You're not interested in being better at the guitar, or playing the guitar, or learning what a guitar can do with you and as a person. And what you bend one note, and the vibrato is 1,000 different ways to feel the guitar, touch the guitar. You know, you're just sitting there loading another I don't like that. Oh, that Vox AC30 profile sounds shit. Yeah, that's because it's not a fucking Vox AC30. I've got a Dumble here, so I don't. Why do you pay 150,000 for this? This sounds shit. It's like, but that's not what you're missing the point here. I think people are missing the point in all of that. Yeah. That's something. That's a different. You're doing something completely different, which is fine. It's like playing PlayStation or whatever. That's what you're doing. You're not playing the guitar. You're nerding out over something that is not the guitar at that moment. That's why I don't. That's one of the things I don't understand. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. And what's interesting about this is usually people that are looking for like, oh, I have so many options with this thing. They are the first to suffer from option paralysis.
Yeah.
And they're like, now I have this thing, but now the learning curve for this is steep and it's incredibly long. It's super long, I know people who have mastered like an XFX or something, and they know this thing like inside out. I know these people, and they're like, it's almost like you need a degree in aircraft engineering in order to run this thing, and then what are you doing? You're playing it, into your, FRFR or into your studio monitors at home.
Yeah.
Right?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Can you see me?
Yes.
There you go. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Exactly. And then you're not. There's no. The magic is not there. If to go back to that word magic, that sense of magic is just not there anymore. It's not. What's going on? It's so weird that people, I don't know. It's almost like that's lost that whole interest in the guitar.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's almost, it becomes about the gear. It becomes about who's going to get the next software firmware update. What can that do? And now everybody wants a QC, and now there's a new Helix out. Now everybody wants the Helix again. And, it's all about getting that piece of gear instead of sitting down and fucking playing the guitar.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's option paralysis. It's just you can. I don't know. It boggles my mind sometimes. That actually it's completely. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
How that works out.
I found that sometimes the obsession with the gear, you end up going down a rabbit hole and you forget all about the music. Now you're all about like that golden fleece. Finding that special pedal or that special amp or speaker, that it's all about the speaker. And then you kind of don't play anymore. You just want great tone, but what are you going to do with that great tone? You going to make music, or are you going to have fun? Because personally, like I plug into like an old Vox or a new Vox or a Fender, like you guys were talking about the Hot Rod DeVille. I have one of those. I plug into it, and people have told me forever, those are dog, man. You don't want to play these amps. They suck ass. No, they don't. I love this freaking thing. Put the right speaker in there, and you got yourself a great amp. And I paid like what, $500 Canadian for it. And
they're cheap on there as well now.
Yeah. And you just set it right and use the right pedals, and there you go.
Yeah, but even then, I think people also don't understand that tone is not about the gear. Always, I hate saying it, but it's. I think tone is a lot about how you approach the instruments, how you play it, what you like as a person. You can the same setup, gear, pedals, guitar, amp. Some guy will make it sound like this. John Mayer will always sound like John Mayer, whether he plays a katana or he plays a Dumble. He will always sound like John Mayer on that stuff because 100%. He's just good enough to do it. He can play a Squire into a katana, and he will. You could close your eyes. It's Carlos Santana who will play one note, and you go, wow, that's Carlos Santana, and he would do that on any instrument, and any amp, and any guitar. And that would just be him. And that is what is gold. That's the gold. If you could do that, if you could be that guy, then spend the time on being that guy instead of spending the time on finding an IR that you think sound like a Alnico Gold. Just go and buy an Alnico Gold. It's 200 quid.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's a lot of money, but you spend that easy on buying packs of fucking IRs.
Yeah, that's true. 100%. So
Anyway.
anyways, we are approaching 1.5 hours, and we usually try to keep
Wow.
we are usually try to keep our episodes to like around that like time frame. We try. But we always end with a section that's sort of like Jonathan's baby, and it's sort of a like rapid fire round of questions. So I'm gonna give it over
to me, right?
I give it over to him.
Well,
Okay,
had I known we were going to be like more philosophical and in touch with like, becoming musicians and not gearheads, I would have not focused so much on the gear, but
No, go on. We should have focused more on gear because we can do that in the next one.
Yeah.
Okay,
so here's what I do. I usually ask like gear related question, but I try to keep it simple so you don't overthink. But at the same time, I try to challenge you a bit on what you like. Okay. So my first question, what are your top 3 amps?
Top 3 amps, Hot Rod Deluxe, JCM 45 probably, and I would say a Twin or Fender Princeton.
Oh,
nice.
Good choices.
Nice choices.
It's classic.
Now, in terms of pedals, okay, so I've seen you sometimes on Endertons, you have your own signature pedals, but let's say we could put those in there if you want, but what would be your more like the go-to pedals that you have, like the stuff that you just can't live without?
It would be any classic kind of a blues breaker, kind of a Timmy maybe, a Governor. I mean, I feel like I'm really blues driver SD1. If it's just classic pedals,
okay.
Again, it's just classic pedals, but it's I got a way to make them sound like me, and I think I can make a lot of pedals sound the same. A lot of pedals sound the same.
Yeah,
it's just how you approach it, right? Yeah.
Same.
Cool. Now, in terms of overdrive or fuzz, like I'm going to talk about like less transparent, if you will, more character pedals. What are the pedals you would go for?
Octafuzz. I love an Octafuzz. We talking about drive stuff? Yeah. But not transparent stuff.
No, more like a good fuzz, maybe a good like / distortion, overdrive, something that's a little more gutsy.
Yeah. Again, I like the Governor kind of vibe. I like the kind of Marshall-y type style overdrive in a box. Like to put the 45, is it called that from J Rocket? Just like a Marshall-y type, the gunshot from Thorpe, that kind of.
Oh yeah.
Kind of a bit more guts in it.
Okay. Now, in terms of gear, is there something that you think is underrated, people are completely sleeping on, that we should check out?
There's a lot of stuff. I think people should check out tube amps more. I mean, I think the Hot Rod Deluxe is a sleeper amp completely, and I think people buy into the whole Katana, which is great. The Katana is an amazing little amp, but for about 200-300 quid, you can buy a Hot Rod Deluxe on eBay, and I think people are sleeping on that. I think it's an amazing piece of gear. I know it's loud, but you can buy little JHS makes this little box you can put in between.
Yeah,
attenuator thing. It acts like a master, and I mean, anyone should just, if they have 250 quid, 300 quid, just go and buy one of those. I think that would, change. It would blow their minds. If they have a Katana anyway, go and buy a Hot Rod Deluxe. It's just a little bit bigger, but it's just the way it's just magic. Anyway, tube amps.
Completely agree. Do you have maybe a secret tone tip, something that you've developed over the years that would probably benefit other guitar players that might not gig, might not do sessions?
Yeah, I think less gain than you think. Go to the gain you think when you do like a solo thing, and then turn it back like two steps. I think it takes less gain sometimes than you think it takes, especially if we're recording. then less gain is especially if you're doing layers of guitars. And then tone tips, speakers are important. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Alnico Gold speaker in my cabinets. And if not that, just a Creamback 65.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They record really well, so just try speakers out. So that's tone tip speakers and not too much gain. And then again, tube amps, man. You know? Again, I mean, as much as I love all the other stuff and I see its place, there's just something magical in it.
And my very last question for you. Your desert island rig. So 1 amp, 1 guitar, and maybe like max 5 pedals. What would that look like?
Oh, what? I'll do 2. I need 2 pedals. That's all. I need a Telecaster, Hot Rod Deluxe, and a looper pedal, and then some kind of mild overdrive pedal. I could do, and a pedal, an amp with some reverb in it. I don't need delays or anything like that when I play. It's all, that's fine. I'll be absolutely fine with that. So amp, yeah, easy. Telecaster will stay in tune on any island, I tell you.
a little
and a looper pedal, of course.
A little add-on. What's your most precious guitar? Because you have quite a few. So what's your most precious one?
It's probably still that.
Okay. Yeah.
The purple Telecaster, which
nice
is it means a lot to me, and it's got a special thing because it kind of helped that whole purple thing take off, you know.
Right.
And also actually there is 2. There's that, and then there is, let me just get this from over here, which is in a box here. You can see this. This is
like an old case.
It is an old case. This is rather special. This was I inherited this from a good friend who passed away, and this is a 1961.
Oh wow!
330.
Okay,
that's
so
gorgeous.
330.
Look at that top. Wow.
Yeah, I mean it's near mint. You can see the color difference. It's been in the sun, and then the original red.
Wow.
See, but
amazing.
it's near mint.
Really nice.
But I inherited that from Richard, one of our friends who passed away, and he called me. He had cancer, and he called me up on a Thursday. Said, "Pete, I want you to have one of my guitars in my collection. You can pick whichever guitar you want." And I was there when he got this guitar, and so I picked that. And then sadly he was gone on the Friday or the Tuesday after. So, and then I got the guitar. So that's very special to me. It means a lot, you know. That kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Beautiful.
Rest in peace. Yeah. But why don't we do another one where we talk about gear a bit more next time? We didn't even get to talk about gear. I'm like, I want to talk about gear as well.
I think Frank and I are like not wanting to go over the time limit, but I think both of us are like, man, we got to pick his brain about gear a little more because we didn't do it enough, you know. So yeah,
you can if we could do another one, or we can do it now or whatever. If we've got time, it's just going to be long.
I don't know.
I'm not going anywhere.
We can do another one for sure.
We can.
Let's do another one.
We can definitely do another one. Although I think we really dived into a lot of topics that are like sort of related with gear, but they like were in some kind of other context. And I for myself, I really had a great time. I really thank you for taking the time to talk to us, man.
Anytime. Anytime.
We are going to do this again, 100%.
Let's do it. Let's make a deal. Maybe not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday or whatever. And another time, let's talk about gear. Let's just gear.
Just nerd out.
Just nerd out.
Just gear.
Gotcha.
Nerd out.
All right.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, guys, for having me.
Thank you for taking the time. And we'll hope to see you again.
Cheers.
Cheers.